Hello and welcome to Matt's Casual Cooking. Today we are going to be making turtle cheesecake bars. A very tasty dish that you can make for any time of year, but especially with Valentine's Day coming up, a very good treat for your one and only. So we're going to go over all the ingredients and how to put it together, and let's get to it.
Before we go over the ingredients you're going to need today, please hit the subscribe button. It's a very easy and free way for you to get my tasty and sometimes very decadent videos into your feed. And it really helps me out with the algorithm, and I would really appreciate it. So we're going to break the ingredients down into three categories. Now for your crust, you're going to need 3 cups of finely chopped pecans, 1 stick of unsalted butter, and we're going to want to melt that, a third of a cup of sugar, and a quarter teaspoon of salt. Now on the pecans, if you don't have a food processor, I suggest putting them into like a plastic bag and taking something to smash them until they are kind of like a nice fine grain, if you don't have one. Now for your cheesecake filling, you're going to need 24 ounces of softened cream cheese. You're going to need a quarter cup or half cup of full fat Greek yogurt or sour cream. You're going to need 3/4 of a cup of sugar. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of vanilla. You're going to need 3 eggs, and you're going to need a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now for your toppings, you're going to need 1 cup of coarsely chopped pecans, and we're going to toast those. You need an 11-ounce bag of caramel candy. You need a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and you're going to need in total 6 tablespoons of milk, and we're going to divide that between the chocolate and the caramel. So we're going to go over the crust first here in just a minute, and I will see you then. Alright folks, so we're going to do the crust first. And what you need to do, a couple things, is before we start, preheat your oven to 300 degrees. And then what you want to do, you want to get out a 9x13 pan and some parchment paper, and you want to kind of, just roll it out until it either extends over the sides or the long ways as well. So go ahead, mix everything from the filling in a bowl. Just use a fork, and we're just going to spread it around. We're just going to mix it together with a fork. You don't need to get fancy with this mixture. And just combine until it all seems kind of, you get the butter really kind of on all of it. Now, if you think you need a little bit more butter, I would only do probably about just another tablespoon more. So you really don't need to for this. Alright, so once this is done, you can go ahead and put it in there. Don't worry about necessarily putting it in there very evenly right now. Just kind of make sure it's in. I get the little bit right there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to what I'm going to do is just take a spatula, and I'm just going to kind of spread it. And what you want to do is, while you're doing this, is you want to kind of push it down into the corners, because we want this as flat as humanly possible. Alright, so you can see we've pressed it down. We've got it flat. You just want to kind of push it to the edge and into the corners to make sure it's good. Now we're going to cook this for just 20 minutes, and while we're doing that, we're going to go into making the filling. So I will see you then. All right, folks, so right now we've got the crust cooking in the oven. So we're going to go over the filling. Now, initially what you want to do is you want to put your cream cheese, yogurt, sugar, and vanilla together. And we're just going to beat this together until it's cream. So go ahead and do that, and then we're going to move on to the egg. So I will see you then. All right, folks, so this is pretty well creamed together, and make sure when you're doing this with a mixer, or if you want to do it by hand, you can certainly do this with a whisk as well. Just make sure to scrape the sides and make sure to get everything you can. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to add one egg at a time into this, combine it, add your next egg, combine, and last egg, combine. And then we're going to just set it aside. Now, what you also want to do then is get out your chocolate chips. We're not going to put it into the frosting. We're actually going to put it on top of the crust as soon as it gets out. So go ahead, add your eggs, and get out your chocolate chips, and I will see you when the crust is done. All right, folks, so once it's just been in for 20 minutes, do not worry about the bottom being cooked all the way. We're actually going to put it back in the oven after this, so leave it at 300 degrees. But what you just want to do now, take your chocolate chips, kind of pour them over as humanly possible. So they can melt a little bit initially. And then what we're going to do is just take your filling and pour it over and spread it out. So once you do that, we will go back over the cooking portion. So I will see you in a minute. Alright, folks, so it's spread out as evenly as we're going to get it. So put it back in the oven for 15 minutes. And just 50 minutes. You don't need to be sticking a toothpick or a butter knife or anything in here to make sure it's done. Just go ahead and put it in for 50 minutes. So then I will see you after that. Alright, folks, so it's been 50 minutes and we are done for now. So what you want to do, take it out of the oven, and we're going to cool it on a rack. Now, if you don't have a rack, you can just have some pads. Go ahead and put them on those. But we're just going to cool for, like I said, an hour. And then what you want to do is you want to put it in the refrigerator either overnight or for at least 8 hours. So then once that's done, we're going to come back to the toppings. So I will see you then. Alright, folks, so we're going to go over the topping for the cheesecake. It's been about 8 hours for me. Not going to be able to do it in the morning. So what you want to do, you want to get out a baking sheet, and you want to put your 1 cup of just chopped pecans on it, and you want to heat your oven to 350 degrees. Now we're just going to cook this so they're kind of nice and toasty in there for 10 minutes. Don't necessarily need to do more than that. And then once that's done, just take them out. And I have the cheesecake out, and we're just going to put them on the cheesecake. Now for the caramel, you're going to put your caramel in a microwave-safe bowl with 4 tablespoons of milk, and the same with your chocolate chips, but you're going to put them in there with 2 tablespoons of milk. Now on the caramel, though, if you think you need an extra tablespoon, I'd probably go ahead and be safe. But what you're going to do for both of these separately is after the pecans are done, you're going to heat these separately at 30-second intervals, and each time that's done, you're going to whisk it together, and you're going to do that until it's smooth, and you're going to pour it on top of the pecans. Now we're going to do the caramel first, then the chocolate, because I kind of like the chocolate more on top than the caramel. So go ahead and do that, and then we will get to the end. So I will see you then. All right, folks, so we are done. And you can see we've got the pecans, we got the caramel, and we got the chocolate all on top of the cheesecake. Now you don't have to cut it out of here. What you want to do is, like I mentioned earlier, we want to have some excess parchment paper hanging over the edge. Because you're just going to pick it up, just take it out, and just kind of fold it down, and then just cut it into whatever size bar you want from here and do, well, and eat it and do whatever you want with it. So if you enjoyed making this recipe today, like, subscribe. Please leave a comment below. I want to know what you think of this, and I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Take care.